What's going on, everybody? This is Blister with Less Than Epic coming at you with another classic WoW video. I know it's been a while, but we have been working in the backgrounds on some things, so don't worry, we are coming back and you're going to get a lot more content like this. Today, we're going to be talking about rogues specifically and what their stat weights are in their pre-raid bis gear and just their overall bis gear for where we currently are in classic WoW. So to start this off, we need to understand what a rogue needs when it comes to gear. Rogues need to have a 9% hit cap for their abilities. The hard hit cap for just white damage is 24%. We don't want to aim for that 24%, we want to get into that 9%, and then anything over 9 into the 24 isn't going to be a waste of stats. It's still going to be very good for rogues because not all of our damage, but most of our damage comes from just white hits. So having that extra hit is definitely going to be beneficial to us. That being said, it does have diminishing returns and it's not as beneficial to us as, say, something like crit, but it's still worth having. So let's take a look at how we actually can get to that 9%. To start with, combat rogues already get 8% hit from their talents. We have 5 weapon skill from our talent weapon expertise, which essentially gives us 3% hit, and then we have another 5% from precision. That just means that an Elvish Tarnished Ring or the Devil Source set or any of the various one-off items that have 1% hit is going to make us hit our soft cap. So now understanding what hit is and how it's actually not that bad to stack hit, but it's more beneficial to stack other traits, let's go into what the stat weights are for everything. Now the easiest way to look at this is to equivalate everything into attack power. So you get 1 attack power equals 1 attack power, 1 strength equals 1 attack power. 1 hit equals 20 attack power for your horde or 18 attack power for your alliance, and that's because of Wind Fury. When it comes to crit, you're going to have the same kind of discrepancy. You get 24 AP for the horde and 23 AP for the alliance per 1% crit. And arguably the most complicated part of this equation is agility. For every 1 point of agility, we get 1 attack power. We also get a little bit of crit, so we need to figure out how much crit we get for every 1 point in agility. To do that, we have to figure out how much agility we need for 1% crit, and that's the easy piece. We know that 29 agility equals 1% crit. So now we take 1 and we divide it by 29. That's going to give us how much crit we actually get per 1 point agility. And since we already know that 1 agility is 1 attack power, we just take the outcome of that and add the 1 to it. Hey guys, this is Blister from the future here. I completely forgot to mention one big piece of this. When you get the outcome of the 1 divided by 29, which is the 0.034, you have to take that and multiply it by the 24 or 23 AP for the alliance or horde, depending on what faction you play, to figure out what you actually need to add to the 1 for the 1 attack power we get for the 1 agility. So now we know that 1 agility equals 1.83 attack power for horde and 1.79 attack power for alliance. The last piece of stat weights that we need to look at are how much stat weights can we apply to a set bonus like the 6-piece Shadowcraft set or the 5-piece for tier 1, because there's no real indicator to, okay, this is going to be an extra 60 or 100 attack power. And for that, I don't have a real good answer. For most of this, we're just going to be looking at the best possible outcome of your DPS with what you have on hand. So with that, let's go into a real quick example of how we can look at how much attack power each piece of gear is actually worth. The Night Slayer shoulders have 26 agility, 3 strength, and 1 hit. We take that 26 agility and multiply it by that 1.83 attack power that we got before from the calculation we did to get 47.58 attack power. Then strength is only 1 attack power per, so we add 3 and then we add 20 attack power from the 1% hit, which gives us a total of 70.58 attack power. That's the grade for those shoulders. It's pretty simple. You just use these numbers, do the math, add it all up, and you get what it's worth. This is very useful for when you're still in blues, still trying to figure out what pieces to equip when and where, especially if you don't have the 6-piece set bonus from Shadowcraft or if you don't have a lot of tier 1 yet. So with that out of the way, what actually is your pre-raid best in slot right now? Well, let's hit the easy stuff first. All specs want Hand of Justice, Black Wren's Breath, 2 Elven Tarnished Rings, the Cape of the Black Baron, and one of the hit bows, either Black Crow from LBRS or the Satyr's Bow from Dire Maul. Weapons are pretty simple too. If you're swords, you want to get the main hand and offhand from Rend and Ubers. If you're daggers, you want to get either the Heartseeker, which is a crafted item, or Fell Striker, which again is from Rend, but it's a super low drop rate because it's an epic, so I wouldn't bother farming that, and that's going to be in your main hand. And in your offhand, you're going to want the Distracting Dagger from Dire Maul West. In 99% of situations, having 6-piece Shadowcraft is going to give you the best overall DPS. There is an argument to be made for the Cadaverous chest piece along with the Eye of Ren, but if you're going daggers, you 100% want the 6-piece Shadowcraft set for your pre-raid bis. You're going to want to get the helmet, the shoulders, the chest, the bracers, the belt, and the boots. You're going to save the legs and glove slots for the Devil Source set. Now, like I said, this is going to be huge for a daggers rogue because of how quickly you're going to be hitting your opponent, but it's still pretty beneficial for a swords rogue. Between my guildies, we have some that are wearing 6-piece and some that are wearing 4-piece, and the 4-piece guys are still putting up just as good numbers as the 6-piece guys when it comes to sword spec. Again, just to harp back on the fact that hit isn't bad for us, if you have the old pre-raid best in slot gear that everybody was looking at before Classic came out, that is still going to be very good gear for you. You're still going to put up some really good numbers. Now, what about just best in slot in general right now for where we are in Phase 2 on the heels of Phase 3 of Classic WoW? Again, let's go with the simple stuff. Your trinkets, exactly the same. The weapons are pretty simple too. If you're swords, you want Viscag the Bloodletter from Onyxia for your main hand, and you want Brutality Blade and Molten Core for your offhand. If you're daggers, you want Perdition's Blade and the Core Helm too. Pretty simple. The cloak, you're actually going to want to get the Puissant Cape from the world boss Azure Ghost. That cloak is actually going to be pretty hard to get, so if you can't get it, then just keep your old cloak. The cloak from Undead Strat is going to be very good for you. When it comes to rings, you're going to want 2 rings from Molten Core, the Band of Acuria, and the Quick Strike ring. Now when it comes to your main 8 armor slots, you're going to want to make sure that if you're wearing the 4-piece for swords or the 6-piece for daggers of your Shadowcraft gear, that you do not equip any tier 1 pieces as they come to you. You want to make sure that you have at least 5 pieces of gear, if not 6 pieces of gear, before you equip all of that. Along with this, it's also a pretty good idea to try and keep 2 slots open for your Devil Sword set, because that's still going to be very beneficial to you. Overall, what you should be going for is to have the bracers of the Eclipse from Dire Maul West is actually going to be your best choice for bracers. So you don't even want to equip the tier 1 bracers. Those you can just throw in the auction house and get rid of them. They're complete garbage. The only time that I would ever suggest equipping the tier 1 bracers is if you absolutely need it for the 5-piece bonus and you don't have the bracers of the Eclipse from Dire Maul West. So now what does that mean for daggers versus swords? Like I said, you want to keep the bracers of the Eclipse, and then you're going to want to try and keep your Devil Sword stuff for as long as possible. But if you do have the tier 1 legs and the gloves, go ahead and swap them out. It's going to be even better if you have the tier 2 legs. So you definitely want to swap it out then. When it comes to daggers, you really want to make sure that you're swapping out everything all at once. The only real difference between the swords rogues and daggers rogues is the daggers rogues are going to want to equip the aged core leather gloves that also drop in Molten Core because of that plus dagger skill. So what that means is the dagger rogues are going to want to have the bracers from Dire Maul, the gloves that give plus dagger skill from Molten Core, and then they have 1 free slot to play with. That can either be another tier 1 piece, or if you've been really unlucky and haven't gotten your tier 1 belt yet, you can try using the Mugger's belt from Dire Maul as well. That's going to give you another 5 dagger skill, and it's going to be huge when it comes to DPSing. If you have all of the plus dagger equipment on, you're going to have plus 21 to daggers, including your talents. That means you're going to be essentially 1 level higher in weapon skills than the bosses in Molten Core. So that about wraps it up, guys. Those are the rogues' skill weights and what their pre-raid bis gear should be like, and what they should be aiming for when it comes to best in slot gear. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know if you like this. I'm going to continue to be pumping out more content. Probably going to be quite a bit of rogue content because that's what I've been playing. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hey, it's Ratted here. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe as well. It really helps out the channel. We put out multiple new videos each week, and we appreciate all of your support. Thanks for watching, everyone, and cheers.